Hi, this is Nick Forster. This week in eTown, we're going to revisit one of our favorite shows, and it starts right now.
From eTown Hall in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it's eTown with this week's guests from Eunice, Louisiana and Savoy, and from Nashville, Tennessee, the McCoury Band. I'm Helen Forster. Right now, join us in welcoming our host, Nick Forster.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to eTown. So a lot of times we will welcome and introduce and showcase up-and-coming artists, new singer-songwriters, offering a fresh take on whatever it is they're doing. That's not what we're doing this week. We are going to feature two artists who have lived a lot in their time. They've each just found their way into the deepest part of the musical traditions that they were drawn to when they were young. Very different traditions. Anne Savoy grew up in Richmond, Virginia, but she fell in love with her husband, who's a famous Cajun accordion player named Mark Savoy. And she moved to Eunice, Louisiana, to his home. And she dove right in. She learned the language and all the music and the songs. She raised her family deep in the heart of this country's, one of this country's most vibrant musical scenes. And she went headfirst into that world. She's got a new record, and she's here. McCoury grew up in rural Pennsylvania listening to the Grand Ole Opry with his family. When he was a kid, he fell in love with Earl Scruggs' banjo playing. He had an amazing career so far. He has worked hard, raised his family, and along the way he spent time on stage with everybody, including Bill Monroe, in whose band he was for a year. He's been on stage with Fish and Preservation Hall Jazz Band and Billy Strings and all kinds of people. He's won 31 different awards from the IBMA. So on Grammy Awards, he was the recipient of the National Heritage Fellowship from the NEA back in 2010. He was welcomed as a member of the Grand Ole Opry. He's kept a great band together for more than 30 years. And today that includes his sons, Ronnie and Rob, along with Jason Carter and Alan Bartram. We love these guys. We're so happy to have them back. Please welcome back to eTown, the McCoury Band.
Run the road beside me along my way. Just like me, they like to travel. Won't sit still, listen I do. I can't sit still till I get me back to you. Pick me up like some hitchhiker. Let me ride into the wild and blue. if she makes her face up with the pain of some red warrior in her eyes. In the dark behind the curtain, on the bed of bust I left her. While she slept, I left the tears say goodbye. Pick me up like some hitchhiker, let me ride into the wild and blue. I don't care which way I'm going, as long as that's the way you're going. I'm the man with the trembling teardrop blue. I'm the man with the trembling teardrop blue. I'm the man with the trembling teardrop blue. Thank you, folks, and welcome to eTown. I'll tell you, you're a great audience. Now, you're lively, and that's what we like. Well, let's see now. I guess I'd like to do a song right now that we have on our latest album. This is entitled, If You Talk in Your Sleep, Don't Mention My Name. I know you're a lonely woman, and I love you. But someone else is waiting, and he owns you. If he should ever wake up, make sure your story is straight, love. If you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name. And if you walk in your sleep, forget where you came. Walking every night here in the shadows, so afraid that sometime he may follow. There's always a chance he'll find us. I don't need to remind you. If you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name. If you walk in your sleep, forget where you came. When it's borrowed, I'll feel a little easier tomorrow. Don't give our secret away. Be careful what you say, and if you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name. If you walk in your sleep, forget where you came. And if you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name. Don't mention my name, love. Forget where you came. Forget where you came.
I'm so happy that you guys are here, the McCoury Band. We've been around each other for quite a long time, you and me.
We sure have. We've known each other since dirt.
And you look the same.
You do too. Well, right.
You do. You sound good. You look good. And I imagine that you're just somebody who loves to play music.
I do. I always did, you know.
Yeah. And I imagine that love of playing music started young. I mean, I remember talking to you about how your dad had a battery that he would pull into the house to hook up to the radio to listen to the Grand Ole Opry when you were. Is that right? Still, am I remembering that right?
Yeah, you know, those old radios, they'd run on a 6-volt car battery, you know. And he'd park the car on Saturday night on a hill where, when we ran the battery down watching or listening to the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday night, well, we had to go to church next morning. So then he just put that battery in there and roll it off, start it.
Jump start it,
It would charge up while we're going to church.
Yeah.
We got charged up Saturday night.
Yeah. But your mom played music and your brother played music, right?
Yes,
And
they
then
did.
they got you started.
Yeah, my mother, she was musical, you know. She played the organ and the piano and could play the guitar, play chords on the guitar and sing. And she taught my oldest brother to play guitar and harmonica. G.C. Grover Cleveland, his name was. We called him G.C. And so when I got about 9 years old, he taught me chords on a guitar, you know. But, you know, it just never was interesting to me for some reason.
Yeah. Well, then you heard Earl Scruggs on a record.
When I was 11, I heard he had bought a record of Flatt and Scruggs, Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms, and that banjo, it was not the break exactly that got me. It was the backup behind his singing.
Yeah.
He was such a great backup banjo player, you know.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get a banjo?
A long time.
Yeah.
At least a week.
Yeah. You mentioned your brother's name was Grover Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were named after FDR's middle name.
True.
Delano, they called you, even though Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but they called you Delano, right?
They did. They called me Delano.
Delano. And did they call you that only when you were in trouble?
Well, now, my dad always called me Boy. I never knew I had a name for a long time. We'd be working
safe,
out in the field somewhere, and he'd need a tool because the tractor broke down or something. He'd say, "Boy, now go in there and get that wrench out of that toolbox and bring it out here." You know?
Wild.
But he's the one that named me. You know, he did. My middle name is Floyd instead of Franklin Delano, you know. And now Frank Wakefield, his name was the full name, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Well, FDR was a hero to working people. You were born in 1939.
Yes.
Just coming out of the Depression and just, you know, not yet in World War II, but those were tough times.
They were.
And FDR's New Deal was a big, big boon to a lot of people. It helped a lot of people, didn't it?
It sure did. I know my dad, he worked on the WPA, but he was a farmer at heart, you know.
Yeah.
And he had sold a farm that we were on when the war broke out. Well, he told Mama, he said, "You know, we better buy us a little farm or something because when this war's over, we might starve to death. We don't know what times they're going to be like." So he bought a 90-acre farm, and he bought that farm on a sheriff's sale for $1,700. Pretty good deal, wasn't it?
That's a pretty good deal.
But now we worked that farm, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, I love the story about just having music be a big part of your growing up and your parents being into it and supportive. Wasn't long, I know, before you were in band. You're playing the banjo. We've talked about your story about, of course, playing in a bar and some guy comes in with a white hat and you can't really tell who it is, and it turns out it's Bill Monroe. And
True. We was playing this little bar in Baltimore. Well, he offered me a job, and I like playing with Jack Cook.
Yeah.
And I was playing banjo with him. This I liked, so. But Bill told me, he said, I need a guitar player. And he said, I want you to play guitar and sing with me. And I thought, well, I was always up for a challenge, and I thought, well, I'll try it. And he said, now, you like that better than what you're doing. And I thought, I wonder how he knows that I would like it better than what I'm doing right now.
because you were pretty happy playing with Jack Cook when
I
you were playing
was.
banjo and Jack. And we're talking about Jack Cook, who also went out with Ralph, played bass with Ralph, and did all that stuff for a long time.
Yes.
The mayor of
Norton,
Virginia.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's great that you've got your boys on stage with you, and Jeannie's still traveling with you. And at 85, you sound great, and you're still doing it. Well, we'll talk more. I'm actually gonna finish up our conversation a little later in the show, but it's time to get back to music. And once again, it's great to see you. Great to be with you again, Del.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get back to music. Welcome back, the Del McCoury Band.
Thank you. I feel the blues moving in. Oh, the miles are between us. I've got our love but strengthened as it has so many times before. But something has happened. I can see it in your writing. I can tell the world is crumbling and the blues are at my door. My last letter that she wrote was on a blue piece of paper. That old feeling's back, the clouds are moving in. The beginning of the end is near. I feel love is faded into darkness. It seems I had no friend. I feel blues moving in. Oh, it's not the words you wrote that made me sad and broken hearted and put me in the sad shape I'm in. Between the lines there mixed emotion and there teardrops on the paper. And you said this all I write today, I'll close for no friend. The last letter that she wrote was on a blue piece of paper. That old feeling's back, clouds are moving in. The beginning of the end is near. I feel love is fading into darkness. It seems I have no friend. I feel the blues moving in. My state of mind is desperate, and the hole that I'm sinking in gets deeper while I'm digging to get out. Oh, please give the right answer to the question I'm asking. Tell me you still love me, that would turn my world about. The last letter that she wrote was on a blue piece of paper. That old feeling's back, the clouds are moving in. The beginning of the end is near. I feel love is faded into darkness. It seems I have no friend. I feel the blues moving in.
That's the Del McCoury Band. Del on guitar, Ronnie McCoury on the mandolin, Rob McCoury on the banjo, Alan Bartram on the bass, Jason Carter on the fiddle, and Heaven McCoury on the guitar. The new record is called Songs of Love and Life, and they will be back later in the show to play a bunch more music.
Your visit to eTown is made possible in part by the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District, or SCFD, one of the largest cultural funding mechanisms in the United States, supporting nearly 300 organizations in the greater Denver, Colorado area. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. You are listening to eTown. Del McCoury Band is going to be back to play some more music later on in the show. And now I'm going to tell you about what's coming up next. Anne Savoy grew up in Richmond, Virginia, surrounded by music and literature and poetry and art. And as a young person, she didn't long to play the banjo. She aimed instead towards London and the British invasion. And as a teenager, she would take pictures, photographs of neighbor kids and other things and make money and then save up her cash and go to London by herself when she was 14 and 15 years old. In fact, when she was 15, she met Paul McCartney. And later, she was playing guitar, getting involved with music, learning songs. She met eventually Mark Savoy, a tall, dark Cajun accordion player from Eunice, Louisiana. They married. She moved to Eunice. She learned the local language, the songs, all about the culture. She eventually actually became the scholar who wrote the first comprehensive history of Cajun music. And that sort of gave that whole community something they'd never had before. They raised their kids. Along the way, they recorded lots of records with her husband and along with Michael Doucet and the Savoy Doucet Band. She recorded a record of duets with Linda Ronstadt. She made records with her kids and many others. And her newest record is essentially a chronicle of her life. It's kind of like a musical version of her journal, her diaries, and it's a great record. And we got to spend some time together a few months ago, and I thought, your record's out. You should come and up to Boulder, and this is her first visit. So this is a great treat for us to welcome another American person who has been dedicated to music and a particular flavor of American musical culture that she's really mastered and spent a lot of time with. But I want to remind you, her musical tastes are varied and different, and they are all about the songs. So please welcome for her first visit to eTown, Anne Savoy.
Hello. I feel just so excited and honored to be here tonight. It's an amazing opportunity that eTown offered me, Nick and Helen, of course. Anyway, so Nick just invited me by myself, so he offered his incredible band up here, and we're just gonna play some tunes.
Should keep rolling, rolling into the night. People so busy, makes me feel dizzy. Taxi lights shine so bright, but I don't feel afraid as long as I gaze on waterless sunset. I am in paradise. Every day I look at the world from my window.
and Savoy, welcome to eTown.
Thank you.
So did I get that right? You really went to London by yourself when you were like 14 years old or 15?
I was living in Switzerland with my parents.
Okay.
And I was really bored in Switzerland. And I was like, I want to go to London. So finally, my mother took us to London. I was with a friend, and that's when I met Paul McCartney. I was 14 years old. And we were outside of Paul McCartney's house. I said, let's go see Paul McCartney's house. So we went there, and I was, the fan looking in. And Jonathan said, you know what? I bet you Paul's really bored. He's in there all by himself. And he said, I'm going to send him a little note and see if he'll invite us in.
How did he send the message? Like under the door or something? How did he do that?
Paul's brother, Mike. And I think we gave it to Mike. Mike gave it to the housekeeper.
Okay. I mean, you're not texting each other at this point. No. This is like 1969 or something like that.
Pen to paper.
Yeah, okay.
So he sent him a note that said, I'm very interested in the influence of Hindu religion on your new record, Sgt. Pepper. And about 5 seconds later, the door opens. Hey, are those two people out there still? Because he was just at home alone, and he didn't have anything to do, so they invited us in.
Yeah.
And so we went in there and just spent the whole afternoon, and he invited us to an amazing party, and meeting Jane Asher, Mick Jagger, Allen Ginsberg. It was like an incredible party. I was 14 years old trying to be cool. I definitely wasn't, but I was there anyway. So.
But it's cool because that's an absolutely formative experience for a young teenage person who's interested in music, and you're hanging around all these people, you're paying attention to all that music. And what I learned with your new record is that you've kept your diaries and your journal from those years.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about those experiences, you can go back and actually see exactly what you wrote in real time during those times.
It's amazing. It's just amazing
Yeah.
from the age of maybe 16 or 14. And I can just pinpoint it. I could just go, let me see what day I did that.
But, and then you went to a folk festival and fell in love with your future husband.
Yes. I was in Richmond teaching French because when I lived in Switzerland, the one thing I got out of it was to master the French language. Got back, my ACT scores were dismal, except for the French score. So I got to go to a fancy college that had a junior year abroad in Paris, and yeah, so that was, but then later I had a Cajun friend in Richmond, and they were showing me films by the documentary filmmaker Les Blanc,
Yeah.
and I saw Spend It All, which my husband was in, then I was just like, I have to go there. Because I was in America, French-speaking person, thinking, what are you going to do with that? And honestly, nobody had even said the word Cajun in my life, and this is quite a turning point. I had a Cajun friend, and she kept saying, you have to go to Louisiana, you have to meet Mark Savoy. So we went to Wolf Trap, and there he was speaking this beautiful old French, playing the heck out of his Cajun accordion, and it was just like, whoa, this is America. And there they are, and I can
Yeah.
go there and use all the things I know, photography, French, whatever.
And I think most people who are listening know the fundamentals, which is they're called Cajuns because they came from Acadia, which was New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island and parts of Nova Scotia. And they were deported by the British because they wouldn't take up arms against the French. Mm-hmm. And they were put on ships and separated, many from their families, and deposited in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And they brought their French language and their French tradition, their music, and they set up shop and reinvented themselves in a tougher landscape.
Yes, indeed.
And you found this culture that's in some ways an anachronism because it's preserved from a couple hundred years earlier. And then you show up and you're just like in it. And you're married to Mark Savoy, who's like the king of the whole thing. And you're this Southern girl from Virginia, but...
It was a culture shock.
Did it
to say
take a
the
while
least.
for them to let you in?
It would have if I hadn't been married to a Cajun man.
And how did you meet Linda Ronstadt?
We had a party. We used to have an annual party. It was called a boucherie, and we'd invite all our friends from all over the world. We're big buddies with Quint Davis, who's the guy that started the jazz festival. And he said, I'm going to bring my girlfriend. And we were like, who? Because, it's all friends, and we don't like strangers to come in unless they're invited. He said, well, Linda Ronstadt, is that okay? And we were like, oh, okay. So they flew her out on a private jet, landed in Eunice, and she was just so cute. She had these little red cowboy boots on, and we became fast friends after that.
That's cool. And then
Yeah.
you recorded a couple of songs for a project you were doing. Evangeline Maid, I think, was a record that you did a couple songs with Linda, and it worked well. And so hey, let's do a whole record.
Exactly. We got really nice reviews for our 2 cuts on Evangeline Maid. And I wasn't going to sing. I'm not trying to push myself. I'm a very shy person, trust me. And Linda's like, you have to sing with me. And so I sang with her. And then our voices did really go nicely.
Voices did really work well together.
Yeah, I know. I miss her so much.
Well, she can't sing, but you're still connected and still in touch, right?
She was kind of co-producing, sort of like behind the scenes.
Well, it's a great collection of songs that are meaningful to you, and they're tied to stories that are chronicled in your liner notes. And it's just a lovely journey through a musical life.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to get back to music, but I think that there's an opportunity for people to learn more. And you have a website, right?
AnneSavoy.com.
AnneSavoy.com.
Yeah. The Americanization of the actual spelling of her name, which is my husband's birth certificate, is actually Savoie. So we're all frauds.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's easier for Americans to say Savoy.
Well, now, on y va?
On y va.
J'ai un petit peu de musique, hein?
Oui, allons jouer.
Allons jouer.
Okay.
Welcome back, Anne Savoy.
I met a boy and we settled down in a little house out on the edge of town. We got married, swore we'd never part. Then little by little we drifted from each other's hearts. At first, I thought it was just restlessness that would fade as time went by and our love grew deep. In the end, it was something more, I guess, tore us apart and made us weep. Now I'm driving a stolen car out on Elridge Avenue. Each night I waited to call, but I never do. He asked if I remembered those letters I wrote when our love was young and bold. He said last night I read those letters and they made me feel 100 years old. Driving a stolen car on a pitch black night, and I'm telling myself it's gonna be alright. I drive by night and travel in fear that in this darkness I will disappear.
Thank you. Thank you. Did anyone recognize that song? Yep. Who wrote it? Bruce Springsteen. Oh, yeah. I don't know how I came up on this song, and I just think the words of it are amazing. So he's a genius. So this song was actually a bluegrass song recorded by Arthur Smith. And when Linda heard it, and we were sitting there, she said, I think this song should be in a minor key. So we took poetic license, I guess. Arthur Smith would probably kill us, but anyway, this is what we came up with.
Adieu, false heart, now we must part. May the joys of the world go with you. I've loved you long with a faithful heart. Never anymore can I believe you. I've seen the time I'd have married you and been your constant lover. But now I'd gladly give you up for one whose heart is truer. Think you are too good for me. You think I am forsaken. But if you think I care for you, you are very much mistaken. My mind is like the constant sun. From the east to the west it ranges, but yours is like unto the moon. It's every month it changes. When I lay down to take my rest, no scornful one to wake me. I'll go straightway unto my grave, just as fast as time can take me. Adieu, false heart, now we must part. May the joys of the world go with you. I've loved you long with a faithful heart. Never anymore can I believe you.
And Savoy. Along with eTown, her record is called Another Heart from Eunice, Louisiana, along with Jason Carter on the fiddle, Adam Bodine on the keys, Christian Teal, Chris Engelman, Helen Forrester singing backup, and Savoy. Good songs.
Your visit to eTown is made possible in part by the Bohemian Foundation, building stronger communities through the bohemian qualities of creativity and imagination. On the web at bohemianfoundation.org. And by the way, there are over 2,000 videos on the eTown YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. You can also subscribe to that channel if you'd like to and stay up to date with our past and latest video offerings. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. I want to say hello to folks who are listening to eTown right now on stations like KACU 89.5 FM in Abilene, Texas, on KEGR and 97.7 FM in Concord, California, and on WETS in Johnson City, Tennessee, all over eastern Tennessee. Thanks for listening. As always, if you want some more information about any of our guests, you'd like to see photos or figure out how you can find videos or learn how to get tickets to live shows, lots of information is online at eTown.org. And as Helen mentioned, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcasts and stay up to date with our latest stuff. Okay, and Savoy and Del McCoury, two experienced and dedicated musicians who dove deep into their respective traditions, and they each made a huge difference, really. Before we get back to music, I know this is a little dangerous, but I'm going to ask Del a couple more questions. Just a little bit. I just want to ask you because, again, you seem like the Del McCoury I've known for a long, long time. And you have a new record that just came out. You got a calendar full of dates. You're playing stuff. Is there anything that indicates that you're going to stop anytime soon, or are you're going to keep going?
Maybe tonight.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, just kidding about that. No, I have no, I feel good yet, and I figure as long as I can sing reasonably on key,
yeah,
and can play in time with all these guys,
Well, I just want to say that the thing about playing bluegrass music is, it's a southern style of music and it's a rural style of music that's suddenly spread, and now through people like Billy Strings and lots of others, it's become more popular.
Yeah.
But there is something kind of universal about bluegrass, and you represent so much of that, the tradition and the innovation. And in this time where people are kind of divided, I think you play a really important role in bringing people together, is my sense.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. It's true. I tell you, I like to talk to the folks in the audience, and of course I never talk politics with them, But music can bring folks together. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Now, years ago, sometimes I'd record a song on a record that somebody brought to me, and I needed that song because I didn't have enough to fill out a record. And I'd sing it, but I didn't like it, actually. So when the record would come out, somebody would come up and they'd say, you know what? I want to buy that record with that song on it.
Oh, wow.
So you see, people like variety.
And your taste isn't always going to be the taste of your audience.
No, not really.
Yeah. I mean, I remember years and years ago, 15 years ago, we had the Traveling McCourys on our show with Richard Thompson. And he was just debuting that song, the 52 Vincent Black Lightning.
Yeah.
And it's become one of your most requested songs.
It has.
You've done it several times on eTown in the past, I know, and I thank you for that.
Yes.
But that's a great example of a song you've taken that's contemporary and you made it bluegrass.
And I'll tell you about that song. And we got Richard to sing it with us at our festival up there.
Yeah.
We just about have to do it in C, the key of C, and he recorded it in B flat. So we asked him, do you think you could do it in C with us, He said, let's try it. So we practiced it for about 30 seconds, and he said, yeah, it'll work. So he didn't see.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you mentioned Delfest, and I think for our listeners, people probably know about it, but if they don't, you put on a great festival, and it's a lovely, diverse booking that represents your musical taste and your family's musical taste, and so much to find out about. But you can go to Del McCoury. Is your website delmccoury.com? What's the...
I think so.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't want to take up any more time, but I just wanted to mention that you have a new record and that you got a full calendar, and Delfest is cranking, and all kinds of good stuff happening. So thanks again. Let's get back to music, and welcome back Del McCoury and his band.
Thank you. With a long, sharp booty knife, he packed her up and he put her in the ground. Death by hanging was to be his fate, and old Eli filled with hate put a curse on the entire town. Can't you hear, when the moon is bright and clear from time to time? It's old Eli dragging chains and mourning people's names. I just hope and pray he never thinks of mine. On the high road late last night, the stars were out and the moon was bright. The wind was blowing, you could hear for a half a mile. That awful sound came through the trees, it chilled my blood and it shook my knees. The kind of a thing that'd make a man run wild. Can't you hear, when the moon is bright and clear from time to time? It's old Eli dragging chains and mourning people's names. I just hope and pray he never thinks of mine. Don't look back, I'm a-coming through, packing my things and I'm going far away. Well, it's said that you can't run away from a curse, and maybe this time I'll be the first. There ain't nobody here gonna make me stay. Can't you hear, when the moon is bright and clear from time to time? It's old Eli dragging chains and mourning people's names. I just hope and pray he never thinks of mine. I just hope and pray he never thinks of mine. I just hope and pray he never thinks of mine. Thank you, folks. Ronnie wrote this song especially for the mandolin. She's written a lot of good mandolin tunes. And, oh yeah, I'll let you tell them about it, Ronnie. You want to?
Sure, Dad. I'll just give you the title. I appreciate it. This is a tune that I wrote a long time ago, and it's entitled Baltimore Johnny.
That's the McCoury Band. Of course, McCoury on guitar and vocals, Ronnie McCoury on the mandolin, Rob McCoury on the banjo, Alan Barcher on the bass, Jason Carter on the fiddle, and Evan McCoury on guitar. Such a great sound. Such an honor to have them all here. We've got time for one more song. We'd like to get Anne Savoy out, and we've got a number picked out that sort of touches on Louisiana and bluegrass music and other things that make sense for us to wrap this up. I want to thank all our guests. Thanks to Anne Savoy for coming up from Eunice, Louisiana, talking about her new record, singing some great songs. Thanks to the eTones and to Helen Forrester, hardworking house band. Thanks to all of our engineers and volunteers. Thanks to the McCoury Band for coming out from Nashville, being part of our show this week. This is one, there's definitely some opportunities to sing along here. I'm Nick Forrester. Hope you can be with us next week, right here in eTown.
I cried last night and the night before. I cried last night and the night before. I cried last night and the night before. Tonight I'm gonna cry and cry no more. Love, oh love, oh careless love. Yeah, careless. Love, oh love, careless love. Love, oh love, oh careless love. You see what love has done to me.
Get it done. What's our fate? Get it done. Make what our fate. To my fate, let it see my fate. Mon oui, moi jamais cassé mon cœur encore. Love, oh love, oh careless love. Love, oh love, oh careless love. Love, oh love, oh careless love.
You see
what love has done to me.
This is a production of eTown.